Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, as you can see, I've got my plate way too full again. We're going to try to go through this. I want to thank someone who mentioned about the gunboat. I had taken it off. I thought I had covered it, and I had just taken it off, because what I do is, after I finish filming, originally I was just going to do everything on a plate. And then I talked too much, and I didn't get through it, so I would just clear off the ones that I'd already covered and leave the ones I hadn't covered and then add more. And in the process, I took off this one. And this is we're going to do it right now and get it out of the way. This is the gunboat canoe, and it just happens to be in this Christmas pattern, but that's the only one that I've seen them offered in. Maybe they've got it in other ones. I'm saying this one I knew what to look for when I saw it, and I love this one because of the size. It's in between the size of a regular canoe, which is a little bit smaller, and a sunfish, which is not longer but fatter. So it's, it has a thicker blade. But this is a great size, and of course it's, got all the jimping on it to make it look fancy. Like this right here is not designed so much for you to put your, like jimping, you would think like jimping on. It's more decorative. That's its main function, is to go along with this, because this serves no practical function. As a matter of fact, if you were carrying it pocket lint and stuff like that, if you didn't have a slip, might get in there. But I love this pattern, the gunboat canoe, which is, like it's a canoe on steroids. That's a good size. As you can see, when I'm talking about my favorite of each pattern or series, with Rough Ryder, just even narrowing it down with Rough Ryder, I've got a lot of them. And the reason why I got a lot of them is I have a hard time picking favorites on anything. I like all of them, because for me, one of the things of having a collection also is a store's not available I can go out to and stuff. I've got it right here. If I like knives, I'm looking at knives, I can just pull one of these out and do things, like oil them or clean them or sharpen them. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. So that's the Gunstock one, and this one is one of my favorite purchases out of Blade Matrix, because it was new old stock, and Knife Detector had put this one up a while back, and I had been looking for one on eBay, and like I said, whenever I found them, they were prohibitively expensive. Like, you'd get there'd only be one, and you'd be in a bid war with like 10 or 15 other people or whatever, and they're all, every time you bid, they go higher. So if you don't have an upper limit, you can wind up playing like you're going to win a hand at gambling or something. I'm going to win this game no matter what. Yeah, you're going to win the purchase, but you're going to wind up paying, like 45, 50 bucks for it. It's not worth it. I mean, it might be to you. If you've got the money, it might be worth it. But to me, that's gone way beyond the range. This one, I think, was like 10 bucks. That alone makes the whole thing of finding an older knife, hunting it down, worth it, because you not only got it in very good condition, it's something that you've been wanting for a while, but you got it on the cheap. And you didn't have to rob somebody to do it, It wasn't like you broke into a warehouse and stole this stuff. Here's another example. This is just like a regular trapper, like I said, with the other yellow one that I had, the Warncliffe trapper. That's what made me like trappers. I had liked trappers a little bit before, but this one is just a good example of a trapper. And it matches this Christmas one. They did the little jigging here. It can still work as jimping a little bit, I guess, but I've never had a problem with, whoa! And even then, you're not cutting yourself, This is not like you're slipping onto the blade. I mean, you can. But, anyway, it's got the decorative, file work in the back and everything. And it's in the Christmas pattern. All right, so we gotta go fast. We got those two out of the way. I am gonna pull them. I'm gonna pull them off, so we can just clear the plate. All right, this is another version of a trapper, but it's a razor trapper, which is kind of funky. I mainly got it for the funkiness. See how it sticks up and everything? It It kind of reminds me of an old car, you know, with the fins on the back and everything like that. Because most people don't use, hardly anybody, I don't know of anybody, there probably are some people that still use a razor to shave with. But most people use disposable razors because this takes some skill. You can cut yourself pretty badly with a straight razor if you don't know what you're doing. And then you got, you know, regular trapper thing. But this ramp here helps widen it up in the hand. So instead of like being a hot spot, it just fills the hand a little bit more. So it's not, you know, out of the way. I've got more than one version of this, but I just put this one in here because I like I think this was orange bone. See? They call them different colors. All right, we'll get that out of the way. Orange bone out of the way. All right. This one here is kind of cool because they're folding. It's not like the cheat or anything. I believe Case or somebody made this. This is a copy, but I've gone over this before. I like the Outdoorsman series. It's a liner lock, but in this case, it's one of those where it's over 100% on the lockup, and there's a detent in here. There's like a double detent. There's a detent to hold the blade closed, and then another one open. It's a nice size. It's a nice knife, but some people have gotten them where they didn't do the metal right, you know, and it's pulled all the way back. That's a bad way for a blade failure to happen too. Also, you're sitting here, you're protecting yourself against something going like this, even though it's got a lock on it, you know. But if it goes up like this on you, that would freak you out. So I basically just classified this as not a hard use type of knife, you know. As long as you keep it realistic with it, you'll be all right. All right, got that one out of the way. All right, this was in the buckshot bone pattern, but it's series, but it's in a pattern like a teardrop jack. And man, I wish they would bring this back. They're out of them right now. But this is, yeah, just a basic, you know, like swelled at the end, but it comes down to a teardrop, you know, teardrop jack. And single blade, but it's great. And this indent right here is nice for your thumb to rest on, you know. It's like a good thumb rest, but you're kind of farther back if you're doing any real cutting with it there. And I coated this with, you know, glow-in-the-dark stuff, and that's why it's got all this enamel. I put a glow-in-the-dark powder on it, and then it originally was in like an Elmer's glue type of paste, you know, but that's not going to hold, so I put some regular epoxy and just mixed them up and coated it over that, and that's why it's kind of shiny looking. It took away the buckshot bone. This is the only one I had of that series too, so I need to get some more of those buckshot bone, because that's just really great, the little pebbles there and all that other stuff, but it doesn't look like that anymore, but it's glow in the dark. All right, where are we? Where are we on time? 8 minutes. All right, this is just a regular Stockman, but it's in that Stoneworks series. So I like the regular Stockman also. I have the Sway Belly Stockman, which is my favorite version of Stockman. But I like this one just because of the, you know, it's a good example, and it's a stonework, and some people might think it's gaudy or whatever. That's their issue. All right. I like it. Let me put, like I said, another person recommended something back here we should do right now. There, that'll cut a little bit of that glare out. And we'll be able to see it a little bit better. I zoomed in too, so I got to remember that. But yeah, it's just nicely done, this Stoneworks pattern. And of course you have, you know, a regular clip blade, sheep's foot for your runaway sheep, and then spay blades to cut down the sheep population. It's got this nice little crowning effect on there, you know. No jimping, you know, file work and stuff on the back, but that's all right. And it's not overly done with a big blade thing that says Stoneworks, you know. So you could use this. I mean, you can use any of them. But if you were worried about messing up etching, you don't have it there. And that's a good thing, I think. So we'll get that one out of the way. Set that over. Alright, also within the Stoneworks, but in the small category, fifth pocket, would be this little guy. It's just a little Barlow, but it locks. Of course, they couldn't resist to tell you that it was Stoneworks. So, okay. This shield doesn't look too bad, the horseshoe one on it. Let me unzoom because I'm getting way too close. I'm going to forget. I've got this so high up that it'll cover the whole tray, and I'm sitting down. So I can't even see the camera unless I stick my neck way up there. That's what's going to happen. I'd rather keep it in camera. But yeah, just another nice little example. It's locking. It's just like a little locking pin blade. It's a cool little thing. And it goes along with that series, which we are bringing another one out, a little small. Of course, this is neck knife pattern. And I don't have too many of those because I usually don't like them. But I forced myself to wear this one for a few days and figured out how to open it, basically, and close it. It's not so much a design defect as having to know what you're doing. But you got a nice little small blade here. Might be too small, you know, if you're carrying a neck knife, but it depends on what you're using it for. If you're just a knife, you know, just to have a knife to cut open boxes, or with cardboard, even though it's long enough, you know, because most cardboard is short on the edge like that when you're cutting. The longer it is, the more you can kind of like pull back and still be on target. With a short blade, if you pull back, you're going to have to get back on and continue cutting on long cuts. They're not really designed so much for that, but that's my favorite, I guess, out of the neck knife category. This one is a mini canoe, and it's just like smaller than a regular canoe, but it's a mini canoe, but it's still functional. I mean, you can get, of course, like I said, I got small hands, but I can squeeze all four on there with the blade open and not be on the blade. And then you've got a little bitty pin blade. I like the red jig bone pattern. I don't have a whole lot of these. I think this is the only one I've got. I've got a Knittler somewhere, you know, like that, but that's that. All right, we're out of there. Now, the work knives. Now, they make different sizes of these. The Moonglow, it's a lot smaller than that, but this is the regular size, you know, like locking open, kind of like a working knife, you know. It's a liner lock on it. And it's got a nice long blade and the red jig bone. It's pretty cool. It's got some gaps and stuff like that, but other than that, that's a good size knife for just all around work, you know. All right, Barlows. I realize I don't have enough Barlows. I've got like 5 or 6 of them. This is my favorite out of them. This most recent one is that bark pearl cover on it. It's an older pattern, Rough Ryder. They make single ones, you know, like you might be able to call this, you know, a Barlow, but usually a Barlow is, the bolster is thicker. I mean, you can get all into, that's another thing on traditional knives. They get really carried away with the specific definitions and get their pants in a wad or whatever whenever they start thinking that you're calling it something wrong, which you know what they're talking about. But I guess it was just to keep the confusion down and get more descriptive. I think terminology gets carried away on some things, but anyway, technically this is a Barlow and this is not, but they're, you know, about the same size. This one only has one thing, but we'll get back to this. It's a good shape. It's a good size. This is a little bit fatter one, so it fits in a hand. It feels good in a hand. I mean, sometimes the extra weight and the width in the back of the hand, it helps, you know. It helps if you're doing like long tasks, or it gives you some momentum. And you've got a really small pin blade on this one. Like I said, most of the time when I'm using a Barlow or a half hawk or something like that, if it's got an extra blade on it, just one, and it's usually a dinky little pin blade, those do come in handy. I mean, you can keep one knife super sharp, you know, like the little pin knife super sharp for hair cutting operations, and this other one has a working edge for cutting rope and everything else, and you don't have to worry about sharpen it because you've always got a sharp edge. That's probably the reasoning behind that. All right. This is called a Gunstock bone. I'm aiming a Gunstock pattern because you can barely see it on this. But what I like about these are they have a spear point. So you got a nice spear point there, which is like one of probably my second favorite knife shapes. It's hard, again, to find out, even with knife shapes, like which you like better, clip point, drop point, spear point, or, man, I like them all. I wouldn't want to be in any situation where that's all I had to choose between, like, the world no longer knows how to make clip points, and you only got this choice now. Why? What the hell happened? Yeah. See, I want to go in. A lot of these are fantasy make-believe so that you can fit the little story narrative and everything, and they don't want any exceptions to it. And mine is like, all right, I don't mind it if you say what's your favorite, but you don't have to frame it like, there will never be any more clip points. This is the last clip points you're going to bug out, and this is the last, you're taking the last step with, like, why? Why are we... How often is this happening? I mean, geez. It's nice to be prepared, but I mean, really, when you're prepared, you're prepared. So you're going to have your bases covered. That's why if I was ever to, like, travel for an extended period of time and be away from my knife inventory, that's when you start deciding stuff like that. But how often does that happen? I've lived here for, like, 10 years straight, and I've only temporarily gone out, I've gone away from the house for over a weekend and stuff like that before, but usually I'm always here. So how often have I bugged out? I mean, really, how often? It's not that it won't ever happen, but I mean, come on. We got time to think about these things. Anyways, we covered this guy, pin blade. This was a little bit longer one, and of course, it's yellow. What is our time? What have we gone to? I can't even see the time up on here. Well, that means it's not even on. Oh, it's going. 17 minutes, jeez. I was looking at it, I'm like, man, have I just been talking to myself? Alright, so again, we're not going to make it. But let's get to this big guy. Jumbo. So this kind of gets into the discussion of when is a pocket knife no longer a pocket knife? When is big, XXL just a little too XL, Because this is a pound, this is over a pound of knife, You were going to notice this. No, you can't put this in a watch pocket. You might be able to fit it in a front pocket, but you're going to get a lot of stares. They're not going to think it's a knife. Let's put it that way. So, yeah, this is for when you want jumbo things. Now, what's cool about this one is, again, it was a gift. It's the 25th anniversary Rough Ryder one, so boom, there's a good thing. This is not just like a frost. This is a real etch into the blade, that goes in there. And it's just a jumbo, giant, super huge trapper. And it's functional. So, yeah, let's see if we can zoom in on the stuff. I've done this one before. Every time I just lay it out there on the table, people are like, what the hell is that? I think they only made 1,000 of them. And they're still, you can still find them, but they go for about $40. It's like $39 now. But, yeah, this is just the file work on the back, the Packlewood handles, the 25th anniversary, like, Rough Ryder shield on there. There's a lot of unique things about this knife. It's cool, though, because, like I said, man, this is a functional blade. It's sharp. It's, it's 440. That's a lot of 440. But, yeah, you can definitely use this thing. Rough Ryder with a Y. It's like, I think this is when they finally said, I believe they started in 1995. I got a spreadsheet that I look at. It's hard to... It's like if you had an Excel spreadsheet that you couldn't change the files. If you know about Excel or spreadsheets when it's hooked up to a computer or a database, once you've entered all this information in, it'll order the stuff for you. So you can just click over here and go by, I want it sorted by year, or I want it sorted by model number, or I want it sorted by whatever you highlight, whatever you click on. And this one was frozen on year, this database. So the model numbers are all over the place, you know, but they were, I think, started doing stuff in like 1995, 94, 95 is when they started producing their stuff. So this is their 25th anniversary one. And yeah, it's just a really cool, it feels good in the hand. It's, if you were Andre the Giant, you know, or Incredible Hulk, or somebody huge, you know, The Rock, maybe, you'd find this is maybe a standard size. Everybody else can find this a little bit big. So again, you know, I think you can get to carried away to where it no longer, yeah, it'll technically fit in a pocket. It's got to be an awfully big pocket. It's got to be reinforced a lot to carry a pound. You're going to notice it. It starts getting to like, wouldn't you have been better off with a fixed blade? I mean, really, you know, or a sword, if you're going to need that much blade. After a while, it doesn't become a pocket anymore, a pocket knife. It's just too big. But I love this one. I love it because it's big and it's functional. It's not just like a hollowed out tin handle, and these are, you know, hollow, and this is made out of aluminum, you know. It's just for looks. No, this one is really, you can use it. Trapping elephants or big game. This is big game trapper. Yeah, if you can carry, if you're going against something that big, then you want a big knife, I guess. So we'll put that one out of the way. So where are we at? We still have some left on the plate, and we're just going to keep going. It's 21 minutes. What I do is I cut down the video quality, so it'll compile faster and not gobble up as much information. So this is why it's not going to look quite as good. But let's continue. We'll just go faster. Alright, this is one of the new ones. It's in BG10. And it has a very good half stop on it. It feels light in the handle, but it's a very good slicer. I mean, it's like crazy sharp. And my only complaint about it was the material on here was black, but as you can see, it was black paint. I just scraped it off, and now it looks better. And this is kind of gaudy, yeah. This is kind of like Christmas decoration, but don't pass this one up. It's like 20-something bucks. But yeah, it's a decent little work knife, and that aluminum handle makes it lighter too. So if you're worried about grams and everything, you can get that one out of the way. Of course, you've seen this one recently. This is that what they call radio man's tool or whatever. So the pliers in here, even though you're not going to take apart a diesel engine with it and stuff like that, you know, but you will be able to repair like a small radio. This was back when people were working on, you know, radios and stuff like that. And that's why instead of a pin blade, you've got a screwdriver, you know, type attachment that can still do, you know, wire cutting chores. And you've got a main blade hiding in here somewhere. I'm looking through the camera lens. There we go. Yeah. Main spear drop type of blade there. Just a good overall knife. Alright, can we do the rest of these? Congress. I'm not really a big fan of Congress. I do realize they've got bigger sizes, but this is pretty small. And this is the one that had every blade had blade wrap on it. So I sat there and I filed them down. I think it's this one. Only to have it happen after hours. Just doing that. Brought it back. But I like this painted desert. The desert swirl. The colors on this and everything. Sometimes they call that root beer swirl or root beer. But to me it looks like sand blown in a desert. Alright. Oh, how long we got? 24. Alright, we're going to try to go faster. Zorro and a moose. Now this one had the defect of... I cracked it also. This one has a defect of... There was a bunch of brass shavings between the... This is just a cardboard, you know, thing of Zorro. There's a bunch of brass shavings in there that I had to lift this up a little bit and bang around and try to get out. I kind of screwed it up. But what I like about it is it's got the big Zorro sword on there and the whip. Reverse frosting and everything, excuse me. Nice half stop, but it's a moose pattern. So you got kind of like a trapper, but with them coming out, you know, opposite ends. And they made this a whole series. Riders, that isn't cracked because he's got a sword. But Riders is silver screen. They have Zorro and Gene Autry and Red Rider with a little beaver. Alright, Hawkbill. I love Hawkbills. And this one is the Grim Reaper. You know, the hand on there. So that's pretty cool. This one's a little bit lighter. It was a toss-up between this one and the one that I dyed red. And I just decided to go with this one because I like the shape. I mean, you know, the pattern on it and everything. Alright, are we going to finish? We might finish. This is a double lockback. But it has a spear blade. You expect like a clip blade or something. It locks on this end. And this is from the Moon Glow pattern. So you flip it over. It's kind of weird. You go back here for the nail neck, but smaller pin blade. And this one has a clip on it. The other ones don't come with a clip, so you can clip this to something if you want to. And it glows in dark, so you can find it if you drop it. Alright, toad sticker. I don't have a lot of these, but these are like melon testers. Although this one's really got the point for sticking a toad. Again, just grab up on it like that. This is in like white Darylin, I think. It might be white bone. Let me look at it closely. Oh yeah, it's bone. I thought it was white Darylin. It's bone. White bone. So yeah, that's cool. Alright. And then the very last. As you can see, I like it so much, I have two of them. The Rough Ryder work knife. Right? It's got that great Warncliffe shape. Sway back. To me, it's the GEC 47 of the Poor Man. Now, what I did here was, I wanted to see if that really was denim, so I carved down there to give me more texture. And what I got was, yeah, it worked for more texture, but it screwed up the looks. So I was like, geez, I really like this knife. What can I do? Oh, what can I do? Buy another one and keep away from it with your knife. Quit scraping on it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I might find another plate full of Rough Riders for you. But I managed to get this one out. I won't have as many next time, and I'll try to go into a little bit more detail. Maybe bring the camera down so that you can see it more. But we cleaned the plate. Our plate is clean. So thank you for watching, and have a nice day.